Okay, well, I don't even know how long I was talking, but I was on a roll and I got a phone call and it just cuts it off. It makes like it never existed. And it can be rather frustrating, but obviously it wasn't meant to be. So maybe I can say it. Because maybe I can say it better now and then I can't even get the words. So, okay, so what I was talking about was, so yesterday when I was talking about, you know, energy, and you're pulling from all of these different energies out there, right? And so everyone is always channeling. They're always pulling energy. They're just unaware of it. People who have more skills or understand it better can actually pull from a certain energy. They can focus on it and they can draw from that energy and kind of merge, participate, become part of that energy and be able to express that energy. So, and then they could be called channelers or, mediums. They can, they can tune into the energy and they can say what that energy is expressing, or what it means, or something like that. It depends on the energy, but they can explain it, but that doesn't mean that they are merged with it or they are expressing it in that way. There's like the difference of how that, if you're going to go up with labels. But anyway, so you have all of this energy out there, and it's not all of positive energy. It is all different energies, there's no good or bad, right? There's just a flow of energy of all different kinds, and you can tune in to what you want if you have the awareness. But you have to have both to have the full circuit, the yin and yang. You can't just have all good. How would we even know it was all good? There would have to be something. Somebody would be affected somewhere to create bad. So, it is all just so, there's no set thing. It means different things to different people. And so all the energies are out there available. And, some of the energies, they could be, that they enjoy chaos. They enjoy pain. They enjoy seeing others suffer, and it could be that, that energy doesn't incarnate, doesn't embody, it doesn't go through experience, it doesn't feel things, it doesn't understand what it's doing. It's just enjoys what that feels like when it's caused. They enjoy that, the excitement, the charge, So, that doesn't necessarily mean that that energy is bad, but there definitely is energy that does feed off of what we would consider evil or bad acts, feed off of murder, incest, hurting others, just all of that kind of stuff that most of us find as being painful. That energy is out there. And there's energy, like if you don't understand a lot of how your brain works, there's energy that can manipulate your ego, that can manipulate the functions that's going on inside there, especially if you don't have awareness, because conscious awareness is so key to so many things. It is being present, understanding who and what you are, understanding your abilities. It's vital to a human's growth, or to a soul's growth, or spirit, or whatever you want to call yourself. Inside, we're all this energy, and you can be around people, and you can be like, man, I don't resonate with them. I don't understand how they don't see what I see. I don't understand. you know, and to me, it all comes down to your past lives, your past experiences, what you learned. And just like I was talking to somebody before, and they were super suicidal. They were just distraught. They just couldn't see any point of going on. And I said, yeah, but what if this is your 19th life and of this same experience, and every time you get to this point, you give up and you kill yourself. Then you get to the other side and you're like, oh my gosh, why? Okay, I know I can do it this time. I know I can get through it. And you are set in those patterns. You have to get over certain things to break certain patterns. And to me, suicide is, it's a permanent decision over a temporary situation, because everything is flowing. Everything is temporary. Nothing is forever. And, the experiences can be very difficult and hard to get over, but, that's where you find your own resourcefulness, your own resilience, your own, that's how you identify yourself, is, what you've been through, your own battle scars, who makes you what you are. And so anyways, you have these energies out there that are out there available to everyone. And some of them, they want to just, they're constantly feeding you information, and you have to say, stop, I'm not listening to you. And I don't know if I said this earlier when I got cut off, or said it earlier in this one, but rituals are a good thing, ceremony and stuff. A lot of people really enjoy ceremony and ritual, and burning sage and all that kind of stuff to clear energies that you don't want around. You can command them, demand them. There's universal laws. You can ask them to show themselves. There's all sorts of ways, and it's all in how you perceive. So if you perceive this is what will work, this will help, all I have to do in my mind is see them leaving, or whatever, however you perceive reality, and you do that, then that is a success. It's going to be successful. It's going to work for you. You don't have to do what this person over here says work for them, because that's their perception of reality. That's why it's so important for you to always go inside of here. This is where you're going to find your answers. This is where you find your resonance, what you are able to understand. And right now it's super hard because there's so much information that we're being fed that's misleading us, that is manipulating us. It's lying to us and causing confusion. It's causing depression. It's causing just a lot of negative things, and those are all things that people are going to have to get over. These are all life-changing situations that are happening for people, these trigger events, these catalysts. And that's what's happening that's going to be the big changeover. The people waking up, being consciously aware of their existence and their place, their role in their own life, what life means. And, but part of the thing with the negative energies out there is that some people will begin to feed off of them. And this is one thing that I've heard a lot of different times, and it just really makes sense to me, is like an alcoholic, somebody who drinks and drinks and drinks to themselves into oblivion. I'm not talking about somebody who every night has a glass or two of wine with dinner or whatever. Not that kind of alcoholic, or whatever you want to call them. Somebody who has to drink way too much to the point of passing out. That makes them more susceptible or prone to those dark seated energies. I always kind of think of them as being kind of sludgy, kind of just like the muck of energy. But it makes them more susceptible to that. And so those energies can kind of seep into them, get into their heads, kind of like festering kind of ooze. And it can distort their thinking and stuff. And so alcoholics in a drunken state, or just people who, I mean, I say alcoholic. I don't think there's a lot of people who get into that super drunken state on a repetitive kind of cycle, like as their regular thing, unless they have a drinking problem. So I'm just gonna call them alcoholics. But so when they get into that state and they go, and that energy is, it's kind of like you would think of them being, what's that called before you have to get an exorcism? Well, when the spirit is inside of them, that it is taking them over, or whatever, that energy. You don't want to say spirit, because some people get this idea of like, this ghost is coming and it's gonna take over. It's not like that. It is it's an energy, and you give it an open door. So you let this energy in, and it's got more control of your mind. You are drunk, and some of these people do really dark, disgusting things when they're drunk. Very dark. And then when they're sober, they're super confused. Like, oh my gosh, does this mean I'm evil? Am I just an evil person? What am I? Why would I do this? Who am I? And a lot of people can't even face that. They can't face the self-realization. They can't face the day of having to, like, oh my God, did I say that? Did I do that? Oh my gosh, they can't face themselves. So they have to get drunk again. And they get themselves in this cycle of destruction and pain and suffering. And the energy is just, the more that you feed them, the more that they attach to you. They're attracted to you. Just like, say for instance, you go to a mall and you're just super down. You just feel defeated. Like, nothing's going right. Everything sucks. Nobody likes me. I'm so stupid. I'm so ugly. I'm just a worthless person. What am I even doing alive? Oh my gosh, life sucks. You're just in this downer, and you go to the mall, you're probably not going to go home and feel any better, because the energy that you're putting out there has a magnet effect to everyone you're walking past in the mall who feels that way. You have an energy exchange. You can't see it. You guys aren't aware of it. The energy that is attached to you, that is living and feeding off of you, they are aware of it. So you're pulling more of that. That energy is growing. It's becoming bigger. And then, somebody who feels pretty good, isn't feeling too bad, they can walk through that energy and they're just going to feel like, oh my gosh, I feel down. What the hell is going on? Oh my gosh, I just need to go home and take a nap. This is horrible. And we'll have no idea. They could feel sick, anything. But, when you're feeling that way, the best thing you can do is more of isolate yourself. Go out into the woods. Go out and walk. You got to clear that energy. You've got to get that energy off of you. You've got to, be aware of it so that you can rid yourself of it. Because we aren't the energy that we are having attached to us. The energy that attaches to us can trick us into thinking that that's what we are, but we aren't. We have to learn how to love ourselves. We have to find community that builds us up, that, we have to create. That's something that humans, it's inside of us, is this creating. That's how we've survived for this long on this planet, against all obstacles. I mean, what all obstacles we've been up against just becomes more and more clear. And, we have been against so much, and we've we build communities. We have, I mean, we're remarkable beings. And, you know, the ones who are enslaving us, I think they find us remarkable. I think that that is part of why they need to ingest us, because they want to be a part of what we are. They can't get our essence. They can, you know, they can close in our energy. Oh, kind of like that movie, The 13 Ghosts, I think it was. Remember how they had all those energies trapped in those glass rooms. I think they're obsessed with trying to just to encapsulate our essence. And, you know, if you think about it, we're kind of like, I see us as being more playful, kind of like, you know, the squirrels that when we see a squirrel dead on the side of the road and we're just like, oh, the poor squirrel. Oh, somebody killed it. But really, that squirrel was living his best life. He's having fun. He's playing with danger. He's running around. He's, you know, he's not scared of dying. He's just having fun living. And I think that is, you know, what we are on the inside. All of these other things, you know, of like creating fear for us and making us feel like we aren't what we are. And, you know, we're going to die. And we need to do this. And all the manipulation that goes on. But it has so much to do with awareness of what you're picking up on out there, where you're tuning in, what you're tuning into. You can tune into the highest energy possible. You have to know what's out there. You have to know what you're looking for. And the more higher you go, the more it has to do with acceptance, loving all things, not judging. You know, you can pull yourself up with that energy. And, you know, it all has to do with, you know, you see somebody going through a hard time and you don't judge them, because there is a thing that, there go I to walk in another man's shoes or whatever. Like, you don't know their experiences, and you don't know what has gotten them there. You don't know their lessons. You don't know how many times they've gone through these things. Like, we need to stop judging each other. Be there for one another. Build up, support, and help one another. That's where we're going to create our best civilization, our best way of where we can be our best. So I've just really noticed I use my hands a lot, but I do. And you know what's funny too is if you are talking to somebody, especially if it's somebody you don't really know, and you'll find yourself like, you know, you got to touch their arm, you know, like, oh yeah, you know, a lot of people are so weirded out if you touch them. And I'm not talking about like you go up like slowly caress them or something. I'm just talking about like, you know, my hands are flying around. They got to grab you. So anyways, it is, you know, for those people to go in and just, like an alcoholic, I think one of the reasons like why AA works and stuff like that is because, they have to go for a higher power. They have to realize that they're powerless and go outside of themselves for power and draw on this energy that will help pull them up. And you know, that is true. You have to, any alcoholic has to learn to like themselves enough to face themselves, to let go of it's kind of like exercising themselves, you know, and you do it out of love, finding love for yourself and acceptance for yourself. And no matter, I had seen someone earlier on Twitter say something about if you do something to hurt yourself or destroy someone's life or something like that, is there any coming back from that? I can't remember exactly how they worded it, but To me, it was like, well, it depends. If you die right after that, then no. But I believe in redemption. I believe we all have the opportunity. It doesn't matter what you've done, it doesn't matter who you've hurt. You can always redeem yourself. You can have forgiveness. But you have to go out and you have to look for it. You have to humble yourself. You have to be willing to do what it takes. If it's important to you, like if you've hurt someone close to you and they've held it against you and stuff, you have to be willing to put yourself out there, and you don't have to see yourself through their eyes, but you have to acknowledge that side of yourself, that you've hurt somebody, and to the depth of where you've hurt them. And like I was talking about before, that the ancestry, the lineage, the karmic debt, the whatever you do today is going to affect the grandkids of, it's not going to just affect this situation. It's going to affect a lot more than that. And so it is a lot to take on when you've done something, depending on how bad it is, what you've done to somebody. But there always is an opportunity for redemption. There's always an opportunity to change. As long as you're alive and you're breathing, you have an opportunity to change what you've done right here and right now. So it all takes facing yourself, and you have to accept yourself as good and bad, as being, you have a dark side. You can't, I don't think you can exist without having a dark side. And you have to put that side in check. You have to have that side under control. You have to manage that side. Like I've said before, people who follow their impulses, that's people like Ted Bundy. I feel I must murder and chop people's heads off. That's important to me. And that they would override any, if they had them. I mean, it gets so complicated with people being born and what their whole thing is. Because there's people who are born who do evil things that come just specifically to do those things because of all the people that are going to be triggered to have great growth from that. So it's kind of like they're a martyr, but it doesn't have to be a martyr for good. There can be a martyr for bad. Ted Bundy could have been, 500 years ago. He was alive and was in this situation where his wife was murdered, and this whole thing was swept under the rug, and things weren't exposed, and more things happened that caused more pain and suffering. And so, that affected him so much through lifetimes that he wanted to come in and be born to be this evilness that would be brought to the surface, that people could all see, that it could be, trapping that evil inside of himself and bringing it out so everyone could see. That's where it just gets so complicated about life journeys, and why you're born, and the contracts you have with others, and what you're bringing to the table and what they're bringing to the table, and an experience, and what you're doing to trigger their growth and what they're doing to trigger your growth. And it's it's just so intertwined. And I've said it before, it can be something as simple as, you're contracted to walk past somebody in a restaurant or a store, and you hold the door open for them. And that was supposed to happen because that was going to change their life. That's, unless you're above, looking out across all things, you can't see. That's why there has to be so much trust of what is above, what is watching out, and in living with that kind of connection and that guidance. But you have to have so much awareness of where you're pulling your energy from. So, and I don't think that that's something I could just tell you. For me, it is like a feeling, like you feel it. It's tuning into your emotions. Like, what is this making me feel? Like, okay, so it makes me feel good and powerful for a second, but am I hurting somebody? Am I doing something else? Like, you have to look at things to really understand where the energy is coming from. And it is, I think it's part of a skill. It's a mastery. I think that is, how you find like gurus and stuff. Like, they've mastered certain skills. They've mastered being able to be, it's kind of like be alive and incarnated, but also to know your abilities outside of incarnation. Because there are ones that can levitate. They can do all sorts of stuff. Some of these people. I was just hearing a guy talk about. I think he was talking about aging. Like there's I don't really completely 100% know how algorithms work. I think I throw mine off on my YouTube because there's no set thing that I'm ever watching. I can watch dog videos, how-to videos, cooking videos, sewing videos, crocheting videos, how to build a deck videos, how to fix your washing machine videos, tarot card videos, how to mix the syllabus mushroom stuff, tea, there's a huge variety of ones. And it's so funny because sometimes, I'll go on and I'll say I put on meditation music of a certain hertz, and then I'll go back in to watch something, and all of my whole thing, that's all it will be. It's like, so every time I'll watch something, I'll suddenly get 100 videos of that one thing, and then I'll watch something else and I'll be a whole bunch more. But so the other day I was watching a tarot reading, because sometimes whatever will pop up in my little first spot, I'll feel like it could have a message for me. And someone was watching this tarot thing, and afterwards it just went right into another video. So I'm not sure how it decided what video to put on, but it was somebody I'd never heard of him, and I didn't know anything about him. And I was busy doing stuff. I think it was cleaning or something. So I just kept listening to what he was saying. And at first it was this man's son talking about his dad. But then they started having the lectures of the dad. And so, I can't 100% say for sure, because I was still, a little bit choppy, because I would be doing stuff and turn on the water, turn it off, But it seems like that this guy, I think his name is Ram Dom, maybe, and he became like a spiritual author and stuff. I think he was a Harvard professor or something, and he became friends with Timothy Leary, which, I had heard of Timothy Leary before, but I always just thought, when I was younger, growing up, I always just thought he was just this wacky guy who started making LSD and was doing studies or something, trying to understand it or something. Anyway, so I was listening to this guy, and I was going, oh, this guy is saying so many of the things that I say. There's so many of the things that I see. This guy is, he sees things the way I see them. If he's got books and stuff, I gotta make sure and tell people, if you find any of this stuff interesting, you might find this guy interesting. Ram Dom, I think it was like RAMDAAM or something like that. It should pop up because it's a weird name. Anyway, so I was listening to him and I was thinking, oh yeah, that's how I see things. And he's seeing it too. I'm not crazy. And so then today I was like, okay, I got to remember that guy's name because I want to be able to tell people, like if you're interested in some of these kind of ways that I talk about the universe, then you might be interested in his books. And so then I started listening to when I saw his name and I hadn't finished this one, I decided I would listen and see what he was saying. And this is where he was talking about Timothy Leary. And so I guess what it wasn't, like, oh, let's just do drugs and psychedelics and stuff. They were really trying to understand about consciousness and what consciousness is and how to control consciousness and, what is this thing that's living inside of me that can have experience, and how can it have an experience that is so real, yet I'm still here? Like, how does that happen? So it was very interesting, and it was enlightening because, yeah, I didn't even realize that aspect of Timothy Leary, and it reminded me of what I was saying about the I don't know what to call them. I think usually I would say natural, but anyway, stuff like peyote and mushrooms and stuff. The stuff that is here naturally that they've made illegal. That you're not allowed to do them, but that they give you this this experience that makes you realize that you are more than what this body makes you believe you are. And I do think, and I've said it before, I do think there's going to be a lot more of that kind of, like I wouldn't just say to somebody, oh yeah, go down and buy some mushrooms and, go sit in your room and do them by yourself. Because there's no way you know what kind of experience you're going to have. And it can be super, super intense. I would say, you'd want to have, I think those things where those people go do ayahuasca. Excuse me, I'm talking. Ayahuasca and peyote and stuff like that. Where they have those shamans or whoever, they have somebody who's there to help them process and stuff. Because it is, that's what those things are for, is for these experiences. Because it does make you realize you are more than what you think you are. So, anyways, I think that there's going to be a lot more of that. There's going to be a lot more of people trying to really understand more about what makes them tick, what makes them who they are, how do you go to sleep and have dreams and the dreams seem completely real and stuff. And that's the thing that happened to me after my brain injury. Part of the things that I had to get used to was this disconnect between life scenarios, I guess. I don't know, like there didn't seem to be things that linked, it was just very choppy, like this happened and this happened, this happened. There was nothing that bound them. It was like I was constantly in a dream. At first I couldn't tell if I was awake or asleep. It was just these things happening and nothing was connected. It was very weird. And then time, I couldn't understand time. Like I could look at a clock and do something, and I would have no idea if it had been 5 minutes or 5 hours. And you could look back at the clock. And so then I started being like, okay, time is much different than what we think. It's not just like you know, when you're a little kid and it seems like it takes forever to get somewhere. And then on the way back, you're there in a second. You know, it's the anticipation, it's the waiting. That is everything with time has to do with that. If you're doing something tedious that you don't like, time will go slow. If you are enjoying things, time will just fly by. And so it is kind of like, to me, then if you're doing something tedious, how can you make it to where it is fun? How can you create something so that you make it into what you want it to be? And, you know, just like the quarantine thing. I mean, I could have sat here for the past year, now it's a year. I could have sat here and just, you know, cried, ate junk, drank every night, got fat, felt sorry for myself, and how unfair, and poor me, I'm all by myself, and all that stuff. But I didn't, you know, I mean, I didn't know what was going on any more than anybody else in the beginning. And I had to, you know, you had to go in and look at it differently. Just like when they were telling you what doctors to listen to. Well, I'm not going to listen to the ones you're paying. I'll choose to listen to some other ones over here. And then I'll, you know, look up what they say, and then I'll come up with my own hypothesis. I don't need you to tell me how to think anymore. But I had to, you know, create the quarantine that I wanted to have. And I didn't want it to just sit here and feel sorry for myself and no change happen. You know, living in the same house, doing everything the exact same. So with the help of the universe, I'm not just saying I did this, the universe, is once you put out what you want and you see what you want and you understand that you will have what you want, it comes. Or is it somebody out there delivering something? The roads are just totally iced over. It's weird. You know, especially when I moved here, I was leaving a place in Spokane. It snows. I mean, the last winter that I experienced, it was, so long. No, it was the last 2 winters, because I left as one winter was ending. It could have gone on a couple more months. But the winter before that, or there was just several that was just hellacious. 6 or 8 months of just snow, cold snow. So when I was gonna be moving, I was looking all over, you know, I was reading all these different things, like good places to retire and go in and read. And so many of the places, it's like, this is a good place to retire. There's 17 hospitals. There's 6 doctor's offices within a mile. You have shopping, all this stuff. I'm like, okay, so if you're retired, then we just need to get you close to a hospital. Don't worry about living anymore. We'll just get you close to a hospital. It's like they want us to. I was watching a guy the other day talking about aging, and that we are the ones who set our aging. And it was exactly how I see things, you know, and I've talked about it before. If you see yourself of like, you know, you could be 50 and you think, okay, well, man, I got 10 years left. When I turn 60, that's it. Life's over. I'm going to be old. Oh, every 60-year-old I know is just old. They're just old, decrepit. I'll probably be so fat, it won't matter. Nothing will matter. I'll just be an old fat person. Probably only have a few years left to live. Oh, I probably won't even get to experience my retirement. I won't even get to spend the money. But that, you're going to make that happen. You know, you decide that. That's not the facts. There's people in their 90s who are vibrant. But so the one guy who I was talking about that I had seen, he was talking about that he had met somebody who was 150. He had seen the papers from the doctors and stuff that followed this, like this guy's medical chart. This other one, this was like 3 different people he was talking about. two of them were definitely in their 150s, and one was the oldest person that he had found that was documented was 250. And so he was talking about, the importance of certain enzymes and minerals and our diet and stuff like that, and which goes along with to me, about the lies of what we should be eating and stuff. And when I was listening to that Ram Dam guy, he was I don't know if he was in the Himalayas. He was up with some guru guy, and he said that guy, when he was with him, I don't know if he studied under him or whatever, but he said for 15 years, this little guy only drank 2 glasses of milk a day for 15 years. Like, they're lying to us about so much stuff. And, I really think that a lot, there's certain things that we need to have in our diet. And it doesn't, for all I know, it can be like, you could suck on a rock, and absorb the minerals out of it, and you'd be perfectly fine. I don't know. I just know that they've been lying to us. And I think a lot of stuff about eating is ceremony. It is about, there's something to the eating. That's why, we shouldn't, make it. I've definitely, driven through and gotten something and eaten it in the car while I'm driving. But, that is more out of hunger. Just hunger, or it can be just like, oh, I'm just gonna, like the other day I did it. I was in town. I hadn't had anything from a restaurant or fast food in, I don't know, 8 months. And so I decided, well, maybe Jack in the Box. I was right next to Jack in the Box, and I was fixing to be heading home. And I was like, well, maybe Jack in the Box still has those fish sandwiches. Those were so good. And so I went through and I got one and ate it. And so it wasn't just, I was hungry, but it was also kind of like a treat. Like, oh, you don't ever do this. This would be kind of fun, and it's something that you like. So there is, but about the eating and stuff with people, and it's the ceremony of the preparation and the gratitude of the abundance of what we have there to satisfy us. And there's more to eating than just nutrition, I think. And I think that there's going to be changes in all those areas of how we eat, what we eat, when we eat, who we eat with. And I think that there's going to be a lot of changes in aging. I keep hearing about these med beds, and I've been hearing about them for a long time, especially coming from the group that would be classified as disclosure, the stuff that the government's been held back from us. It's usually the group of people who are into aliens and technology and stuff. That was my group of people that I resonated with. And so I've been hearing about these med beds for a long time. See, I have this hole in the sweater, but I really like this sweater so much. But anyways, if you see I already know it's there, but I just like the sweater. And I could sew it, but anyways, so the med beds, I keep hearing that they're going to be out really soon, and it's going to be to help with some of these people there's a lot of people who have gotten themselves sick over this quarantine, and they just have no awareness. Their fear was driving them insane. And so in these med beds, though, that there's some of these cell regeneration kind of things that can take you back 20 or 30 years. And I definitely, I've been thinking about it a lot. Because I have a lot of things that I want to fix in my own body, Scoliosis, for instance. Like, I would love to have my spine straightened. My brain, like, I don't know when they regenerate those cells if it brings back old memories or how it would work. Like, I don't know. I don't even remember. I remember when I first lost certain abilities in my brain that, like, I knew they were missing, and I would cry and cry about it, and I'd get horrible headaches trying to use my brain again and stuff. And what she keeps barking at. So many noises outside with the snow falling off the roof and falling out of the trees. I was out there shoveling yesterday, and all of a sudden, the trees are really, really tall. Like, I don't know, I would say probably, I don't know, 80 feet, but I don't know, I'm bad with numbers, I have a brain injury. They're really tall, and they've got lots of big branches. They're big evergreen kind of trees. And so I'm out there shoveling, and then I hear something, I guess kind of like an avalanche, and all of a sudden, all the branches just dropped, all the snow right on top of me. And it was kind of funny. I had to laugh because I felt like the universe was just like playing games with me, because it didn't hurt me or anything. It just got me all wet. It was kind of like the same thing as like if somebody's washing the car and they spray you with the water. Oh, there's so many noises out there. Anyways, so I go off on so many topics that that's part of being attention deficit and having a brain injury. Just all over the place. So anyways, I think I know that I would go into the thing. I want to get some of this stuff fixed. Like, I had a dentist. I had this one dentist we had for a really long time, but then our insurance switched, and I had to go to this new one, and you had to go to their dentist group. And my husband at the time, in his union, they made a contract with this group. So I had to go there, and I went in, and the guy told me that I had needed 3 root canals and all this stuff. And I was like, oh my gosh, how in the world? What? So I'm like, okay. And he starts doing them. Well, he broke all 3 of these teeth. And I had to have 2 surgeries to get them taken out. It was horrible infections and stuff. I had no idea that there was even such a thing as dental malpractice. So I found out different. And so, I thought, oh, great. I had to sign a thing, and they paid for me to get implants, which I felt fortunate that I got anything back from it. So I got 2 implants. They couldn't put 3. They could only do 2. And the one just broke all the time. And then eventually there was just pus coming out, and it was all infected down inside. And so then I only had the one. They had to surgically remove that one. And just getting the implants gave me nerve damage in the side of my face. Like, sometimes I do this because I have no feeling over here. And so I could have, I could just have spit just drip it. Is the worst. When it very first happened, I like soup. I'd be somewhere you need soup, and I'm talking to somebody, and I have no idea. I just got soup going down my face because I don't have any feeling. But the weird thing is, when you don't have feeling, when you touch it, then there's also, if you go very deep, the nerve is like on alert, like it's just waiting, like, oh, just touch me, I'll show you. And so you touch it just the right place. It is a horrible, horrible pain. But anyway, so I would definitely, because these machines grow limbs back. I mean, these people who have gotten amputations and stuff, they can grow back their limbs and stuff. You can grow back teeth. So I'm going to get those done for sure. But I would definitely go back, the aging process thing, and, try and start again, without all of the chemicals and poisons and stuff. And I think I think a lot of people would. I think there's going to be people who are going to be kind of scared at first. I'll go in. I'll be first in line. I don't care. I've heard about these for a long time. I'll totally trust them. And if, I'm zapped out and go someplace else, then so be it. That's another thing that I maybe talked about this yesterday. I don't remember. But this whole concept of that people think that you can die before your time. How? How can you die before your time? It is not possible. It's just not possible. And the other thing is too, with the things that people think that they can hide from death. You can't. When it's coming for you, it's coming for you. Whether it's coming in a sickness, an accident, whatever thing that we label tragic that happens, that was pre-planned. That was always going to happen. That's why, the craziest things, like some completely crazy thing that would seem magic takes some people out. Yeah, because that's how it works. It's like we're going in and out of this game all the time. And that's what it is. It's just a game. It's just a game of learning, of experience. Sometimes I can just see the stuff. It starts showing in my head, and I think that I don't know how I come across to other people, but I definitely know that I do go into, I don't know, I guess like little trances or something, and we start seeing things inside, but it doesn't look like it's inside your head. It looks like it's outside your head. And it's weird because you don't know how other people perceive things. And I don't know. It's weird. I know I've said this a million times too. It'll be interesting by the time I'm talking to somebody, not just talking at my phone, but actually talking to someone and talking about some of the concepts and how they perceive them and stuff. This is interesting to understand how different people perceive things. Just, one of the things that you get really stuck on is an orgasm. Like, try and explain an orgasm to somebody is, or to just understand what happens to you. I mean, there's been doctors trying to understand it, but they try and do it on like some kind of chemical level. Well, this happens and then this happens. But really, like, just try and explain. And then you could explain it to so many people and you would never know if they had the same feeling that you had. I mean, everything is so individual of how we understand things and how we process things. And so anyways, I just it'd be interesting to talk to different people and see, like if they see the same things I see, or if they are understanding the same things I understand, or share information. But I definitely, that's the kind of stuff that's interesting to me. The rest of the stuff, it's all optics. It's all staged events. It's all things to trigger and create catalysts in people's lives to create this new change, this changeover of what's going on. Anyways, I just get going with my rambling. I don't even know if I covered all this stuff. I don't even know what I say sometimes. I have no idea. Sometimes I have to go look up words to see what they mean. But anyways, that Ram Dom, I think he's interesting. And like I've said, David Wilcox, Dolores Cannon, there was somebody else. Oh, the Book of One, or the Law of One, and that's the Teachings of Ra. Like all those things, if you're searching, trying to understand things, those, all of those, I think you would find things that would lead you to where you needed to go. But then, I don't know, because I don't know your journey. Like, you'll have to decide that for yourself. I can just share books that I find interesting. And, okay, so have a great day, and I will talk to you again.